Cordello Smith claims that when he woke up, Combs admitted he did him when he was unconscious. Cordello Smith claims that he left, he never went back. He alleges he filed a police report but couldn't talk about what happened to him. He says therapy in prison helped him realize that he was a victim. And he goes on to claim that Combs paid off police to keep the whole thing quiet.
There is a significant tale, the story of Derrick Cordello Smith, a prisoner in Michigan who says he was essayed by Diddy in the 1990s, has taken a bizarre turn after Derrick just won a big court battle. Think about it, when Diddy visited Derrick in jail and offered him hush money to keep quiet. It was a questionable move on his part. Yes, you did hear correctly. Diddy offered Derrick an opportunity to make everything right, but Derrick declined and chose to tell his side of the story about what transpired at one of Diddy's parties in 1997. Now, everyone is wondering why this case isn't receiving more attention and why Diddy's alleged male victims are remaining silent. But let's face it, when the first rumors about Diddy allegedly targeting male rappers and singers began to circulate on social media, fans and even other celebrities treated the allegations with mockery, making jokes about their favorite rapper's possible sexual orientation rather than being shocked by the serious allegations. So what's really going on with Derrick Cordello Smith, the man who claims Diddy shaved him, and how did he manage since this story will only grow? Let's get started and unravel it all.
Everything that you're looking at, they're all tied in together. Every part, as crazy as it seems, as outrageous as it seems, it all ties in. Every bit of it, every facet.
Now, let's start with what Derrick Cordello Smith has been revealing. According to him, back in 1997, at a party where they were supposed to discuss a record deal, Diddy spiked his drink and mistreated him while he was unconscious. Take note that he allegedly made intimate advances while Derrick was unconscious. When Derrick woke up and realized what had happened, he left right away and didn't return for years. He thought it was his fault that he was mistreated because he was weak. It wasn't until he received therapy in prison that he realized he was a victim of Diddy's actions. Smith bravely filed a lawsuit and won a big battle in court, but here's the odd thing. The mainstream media has spoken almost nothing about it. Only the Law and Crime Network has chosen to cover this shocking development. Since we've been hearing unsettling tales for months about Diddy abusing a variety of people, men, women, and even children, it seems like everyone has a story to share about the terrible things Diddy has done to them. Although the news about Derrick isn't shocking in the slightest, it's still tragic that someone had to go through such a traumatic experience. And since this case hasn't received much attention, we're here to explain everything to you now. Cordello Derrick, currently serving his sentence at the Nest Southeast Brooks Correctional Facility in Michigan, Smith is well known within the legal community for his numerous criminal appeals and civil complaints filed over the years, for which he has been deemed a nuisance by some court authorities. Smith has filed lawsuits against organizations including the Detroit Archdiocese, alleging he was intimidated and silenced. According to Smith's court records, he was found guilty on 2 counts of third-degree criminal misconduct in 1998. Following his release from prison, he was found guilty on 6 counts of first-degree criminal misconduct in 2008 and 2 counts of kidnapping. In 2019, he entered a not guilty plea on 4 counts of first-degree criminal misconduct. Smith has appealed each conviction, claiming that the police were set up and that the charges were unfounded. Recently, Smith has made several attempts to file documents with the Michigan Court of Appeals. However, a large number of these filings have been denied since Smith represents himself, which may be a contributing factor to these problems. A Western District of Michigan judge's 2018 ruling stated that Smith had submitted multiple habeas corpus petitions, all of which were rejected, dismissed, or sent to the 6th Circuit Court of Appeals. The judge also highlighted that Smith had submitted multiple petitions regarding prison conditions, misconduct decisions, and parole denial. Habeas corpus is a judicial challenge to confinement asserting that it is unconstitutional. Smith additionally submitted a petition on a first-degree murder conviction that was pending, yet there was no record of this conviction located. In the end, Smith has a reputation for being litigious. It remains to be seen if his accusations against Diddy are sincere or just a part of a larger legal plot. But this week's bombshell, that he obtained a temporary restraining order against rapper Diddy Combs during a virtual court appearance, has garnered attention. Diddy allegedly offered Smith a $2, $3 million settlement to drop the case during one of their meetings. Smith claimed that Diddy was looking to sell off his properties in Los Angeles and elsewhere to access funds for other matters in his life. Smith represented himself and detailed his recent encounters with Diddy, who he claimed had visited him in prison twice in the last 2 weeks. Smith argued that Diddy would cause him harm if he is allowed to sell his properties because he claims to have been tied to them through loans and investments. He cited California civil codes that allow out-of-state justices to halt property transfers as part of his legal argument to prevent the sales. It is significant to remember that reports state that Diddy allegedly offered Derrick Smith money in exchange for Smith keeping quiet about the claims. This recording is purported to be included in the evidence in the court case. Despite some uncertainty during the proceedings, the court acknowledged that Smith's application for a temporary restraining order was the main subject of the hearing and not the settlement negotiations. Smith stated unequivocally that he thinks Diddy's ability to carry out these sales will hurt his prospects of winning a verdict in his favor.
Hearing, you filed a motion for a temporary restraining order and/or a preliminary injunction to stop all sales of property and assets attached to or involved with said property based on the interest of plaintiff and plaintiff's connections to defendants of plaintiff.
The purpose of the injunction is to stop Diddy from selling his property, which is significant because Diddy listed his home in the HBY Hills neighborhood of Los Angeles for $70 million. This is the same home that Homeland Security agents evaluated in connection with an Essex tying investigation by the Southern District of New York. During the hearing, Judge Anna Maranzalone briefly left the room to review more paperwork, and Smith reiterated that all of his filings, regardless of how absurd they may seem, are connected. The judge also confirmed that Diddy received notice of the lawsuit on July 6, 2024, and then reviewed the complaint that prompted Diddy to file for a temporary restraining order. Smith claims that in 1997, while he was employed as a bartender in Detroit, he received an invitation to a Holiday Inn party where Diddy was expected to be having fun. Smith alleges that Diddy expressed interest in making him feel uneasy during the party after he had drunk alcohol and engaged in group intimate actions. Diddy apparently gave Smith another drink as he was sitting on a couch, and Smith accepted, believing it to be Jim Beam. After taking the drink, Smith claims he felt sleepy and eventually passed out. When he woke up, he claims Diddy told him that he had mistreated him while he was unconscious. These claims are similar to other lawsuits that have been filed against Diddy since November 2023, in which he is accused of acting inappropriately, making non-consensual advances, and mistreating Smith in various ways. Smith's lawsuit goes on to claim that Diddy bought off the police in Detroit and Monroe in order to keep the incident a secret. According to Under Wraps, Smith claims that he didn't really accept that he was a victim of SRA until he was incarcerated, which is why he filed a lawsuit claiming $100 million in damages. In sharp contrast to the extensive coverage of Diddy's other lawsuits, the media has mostly remained silent on Smith's case despite the seriousness of these allegations. This silence has sparked conjecture about whether Diddy is shielded by strong allies or whether the allegations are being purposefully downplayed. But Smith isn't giving up after turning down Diddy's $2.3 million offer to settle the lawsuit. Instead, he's sticking with his legal claims in an effort to make this case public and get justice for the claimed wrongs done to him. Interestingly, Diddy's former bodyguard Jen Deal is the only public figure who has spoken on this topic thus far during his appearance on The Art of Dialogue. Gene topped on Smith's claims, but his remarks provoked criticism. When Jan began to joke about Smith's allegations that Diddy had sex with him in 1997, fans quickly called him out, accusing him of demeaning male sex abuse victims and fostering negative stereotypes of male survivors.
Lee claims that in 1997, Diddy him. I know it.
Someone even remarked it's absurd to laugh at a guy who was given medication and abused. This dispute draws attention to a bigger problem. Several men have accused Diddy of spiking their drinks and mistreating them while they were unconscious, but rather than addressing the seriousness of these allegations, much of the conversation has revolved around homophobic reactions. This is a recurring theme in the way male victims of sexual assault, particularly in the entertainment industry, are frequently mocked or dismissed. The case of producer Rodney Little Rod Jones, who sued Diddy earlier this year and named a number of well-known celebrities, highlights this concerning trend as well. Despite the gravity of the allegations, the focus frequently switches to unimportant details, overshadowing the need for justice and accountability. In Lil Rod's lawsuit, he makes references to a number of well-known people, including a Philadelphia rapper who once dated Nicki Minaj and a Grammy-winning R&B singer with a history of legal troubles. If these allegations are accurate, Usher's close relationship with Diddy from a young age is strongly suggested by the mention of a Super Bowl halftime performer with a successful Vegas residency. This is similar to the concerning R. Kelly-Aaliyah situation, which raises serious concerns about exploitation and mistreatment rather than focusing on these serious allegations. The majority of public conversation has shifted to sensational topics, including Usher's alleged orientation. This change in focus highlights a larger problem in the media and public domain: the propensity to belittle serious allegations in favor of sensational gossip. In the meantime, Meek Mill's inconsistent response to Lil Rod's lawsuit has generated conjecture and criticism, with some even speculating that the rumors about him might be accurate. Nevertheless, instead of taking the allegations seriously, the internet has once again become fixated on Meek Mill's alleged orientation, making the situation even more problematic. Complicated by prior claims that Meek Mill was physically abusive to women, among other things. Although Meek's aggressive behavior had previously been alluded to by Nicki Minaj, and an ex-associate reported that Meek had committed cruel acts against Nicki, including spitting on her and leaving her strength branded. These claims of mistreatment warrant attention and examination, but the emphasis is still disproportionately placed on sensationalist and unimportant details. An additional comparable circumstance that clarifies the matter is Terry Crews's encounter with unsolicited communication and his ensuing public statement. Crews, who experienced unwanted touching from a Hollywood agent. Even though Crews was furious, Adam Bennett faced severe personal and professional consequences for speaking up, but he decided not to take revenge. With his wife's guidance and awareness of the possible consequences in mind, the event purportedly occurred in February 2016, but Terry Crews did not disclose it until November 2017. As a result, in March 2018, prosecutors opted not to press charges against Adam Bennett, citing the statute of limitations having passed. Terry later claimed that the fact that Adam Bennett was the LAPD Foundation event chairman and had ties to the department may have led to the dismissal of his case. When Terry Crews eventually disclosed the incident, he was severely ridiculed by the public, including other male celebrities. They made fun of him and asked how someone with his level of physical strength could be a victim, for example. D.L. Hughley, who has faced serious accusations of his own and is rumored to have fled to Bali to avoid prosecution, expressed disbelief, saying he couldn't understand how a man with so many muscles couldn't stop unwanted touching. Russell Simmons even sent Terry an email suggesting he should forgive Adam Bennett. Terry refused to keep quiet and shared Russell's email, in which Russell recommended Terry give Bennett a pass. Terry firmly replied that no one gets off lightly. When Cassie's lawsuit against Diddy surfaced, many people quickly discounted her claims, arguing that she was just looking for money and should have known what she was getting into. Diddy refuted all of the allegations, with his lawyer supporting him and accusing Cassie of lying to get money. However, when damning hotel security footage emerged, the narrative shifted, trivializing and mocking the idea that Diddy might have targeted men as well. This revealed serious prejudices and blind spots. Rather than treating male victims with the seriousness they deserve, some fans voiced their displeasure that jokes about preferences dating back to Lil Rod's law cases lost the chance to discuss difficulties faced by male survivors and advocates for men's mental health. The buzz surrounding them has also significantly subsided over the last few months. Have passed with little new material to report, yet some celebrities haven't stopped calling Diddy out and criticizing him. One of the most outspoken detractors is 50 Cent. When word leaked that Jay-Z may have been involved in similar controversies following the federal authorities' raiding of Diddy's home, 50 Cent hinted that he would be revealing more about Diddy's alleged wrongdoings. However, 50 Cent isn't stopping with just Diddy. He also plans to produce a documentary that will expose Diddy's dubious activities and those who may have helped him. As reactions to these developments came in, people were divided. Some applauded 50 Cent for his courage, seeing him as a bold truth-teller who isn't afraid to challenge powerful figures. 50 Cent even posted a meme that made fun of Jay-Z and suggested that the rapper might be the next person to come under scrutiny. Others, on the other hand, cautioned about the dangers of going up against two of the biggest names in the music business and that trying to expose them may have dire consequences. Jaguar Wright is another vocal critic of Diddy. She was among the first to call out Diddy for allegedly mistreating Cassie and even advised his then-girlfriend, Young Miami, to leave him at the same time that Cassie did. All of this was brought to light before the lawsuits were filed, and when they were, Jaguar W didn't hold back. She kept sharing what she knew about the industry, even going so far as to say that Jay-Z's actions are worse than Diddy's. Circling back to Derrick Cordello Smith, it's critical that he consider the case's larger relevance and ramifications for both himself and other people in similar circumstances. Smith's legal battle with Sean Diddy Combs is more than simply a person. He stands for the difficulties encountered by numerous people who pursue responsibility and compensation in contentious court disputes. Smith's legal proceedings demonstrate the ferocity of his pursuit of justice, as evidenced by his hefty $100 million claim and the temporary restraining order against Combs. In order to stop Combs from selling his properties and possibly avoiding any financial judgments that might be made against him, a 90-day restraining order was granted. This ruling was a brief but important win for Smith, demonstrating his resolve and the veracity of his allegations. Because Coles failed to reply in court, Smith attempted to get a default judgment, which brings to light the difficulties and complications associated with these matters at the procedural level. Smith's partial victory could serve as motivation for many other victims to come forward and share their stories in the hopes that they too could win a legal battle against this once revered but now discredited mogul. As we all know, several women have come forward with serious accusations against Diddy, shedding light on the darker side of the once revered mogul, and they were the first to spark this entire lawsuit. However, it is still unclear whether Smith will ultimately receive the full financial compensation he sought or pursue further legal remedies. As we all know, Sava is Cassie, and her courageous decision to come forward has allowed other voices to be heard. April Lamprose has also come forward, sharing her horrific experiences of being mistreated by Diddy during the same period of time. Like Cassie, her story draws attention to a troubling pattern of behavior. Joy Dickerson has also come forward, claiming that she was sedated and mistreated by Diddy in 1991 while attending Syracuse University. Joy's allegations are especially concerning because they imply that Diddy not only abused her, but also secretly recorded the incident, violating her privacy and trust. Sadly, Joy's accusations have frequently been discounted or ignored, and the legal process has not moved forward in many of these cases, leaving the victims feeling abandoned and unheard. However, recent developments suggest that the power dynamics may be changing, and as Diddy's influence seems to be waning, there is growing hope that justice may finally be served. This potential change raises questions about whether Diddy will eventually face legal repercussions for his actions and whether true justice will prevail for those who have bravely come forward. What are your thoughts on this developing situation? It offers a glimmer of hope to the many victims who have long awaited acknowledgement and justice for their suffering. Do you believe Diddy will ultimately face legal repercussions? Will the victims who have spoken up finally receive justice? Please share your thoughts in the comments section below while we wait for more information. For more videos like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and watch our other videos.